welcome back to my channel. So you guys are not gonna believe this. Actually, you probably will because it's Chance. Chance has been arrested once again. So Chance's middle name is Chance, for those who don't know, and his legal first name is Earl. And come to find out, Chance was arrested on December 28th. Here's a picture of his mugshot you can see right there. So this is what happened. He was arrested on December 28th, and he was initially arrested for tampering with a motor vehicle in the first degree. He was placed on a 24-hour hold, and what they typically do is they hold you for 24 hours while they do an investigation and try to come up with more evidence to see if they can hold you or not. After the 24 hours, they did the investigation, and obviously they found enough evidence because they decided to hold Chance on a $25,000 cash-only bond. So he is still currently behind bars. He's been in jail for a few days now. I'm assuming most likely he just doesn't have $25,000 sitting around to bond himself out right now. So it shows that he was arrested on December 28th at 7:54 p.m. He was arrested by the Troy Police Department. So he is actually arrested in Illinois, and I looked it up, and I guess that's about an hour away from where he was living with Taylor. And his address, he's still using Taylor's address on his ID, and he's currently behind bars. So I did request more information about his arrest, like the full report, and that will take some time. Usually it takes about a week or two to get that information. I found out though, because like I've been trying to get all the info I can get, like body cam footage, 911 calls, and all that. And I found out like when I request a lot of information at once, sometimes it can take longer to get the information because typically it takes a little longer to get a hold of the body cam footage. So I found out that's why I'm still waiting on like Anthony's information that I requested over a month and a half, 2 months ago. So I just decided to request the arrest report, and I should have it soon so we can get all the details on what happened here. But Chance is definitely looking at some prison time with this arrest. So tampering with a motor vehicle in the first degree is when someone knowingly receives, possesses, sells, or unlawfully operates an automobile, airplane, motorcycle, motorboat, or other motor-propelled vehicle without the consent of the owner thereof. So I was speaking with somebody who knows more about all this, and they said that most likely he was caught with a car that he was trying to steal. And the thing is, like, instead of just giving him a theft of a motor vehicle charge, they would have to actually prove that he jumped in that vehicle and stole it. So tampering with a motor vehicle is an easier charge to get to stick because all they have to prove is he was in a stolen vehicle. They don't have to actually prove that he drove off with it. So the police are most likely going with tampering because they have better chances of the charges sticking in court. And someone else pointed that out in my last video when I was questioning why wasn't he charged for driving without a license when he, crashed into that semi and drove. But since he ended up running off on foot and the police didn't catch up with him until 12 hours later and he left his truck on the scene after his wreck, it would be harder to get him for driving without a license since they didn't actually see him driving in the car. So they just hit him with what they could get, what they had enough evidence with, and what would stick. So I looked it up and it said, what is the sentence for tampering with a motor vehicle in Missouri? And it says if the person is found guilty of first-degree tampering in Missouri, he or she will be incarcerated for a period of time ranging from 1 year to 7 years and fined up to $5,000. And it says, however, the punishment for this offense can vary depending on the offender's criminal history, facts of the case, and other factors. And it's been one thing after another with Chance, because we have to remember literally weeks before this hit and run with Chance, he was arrested for a DUI, and then he does this hit and run where he allegedly hits a semi and just leaves the semi as the semi is literally crashed and it's on fire, and 7,500 gallons of ethanol was spilled all over the road, and he just dips out. And Chance is most likely facing a lawsuit from that because the wife of the driver spoke out and she said right now she can't say too much because she doesn't want to mess with the case. But she said that this has really affected her husband who was hit because he had to take time off work right now because he thought he was okay and he just had a few bumps and bruises after he left the hospital. But a few days later he had to go back to the hospital and he found out he had a shoulder injury. He now has to have surgery, and she even said that he has to take time off work work because of this, and if he isn't able to go back to working with this company, other trucking companies may not hire him in the future, seeing this wreck on his driving record, even though this was allegedly not his fault. So it's just a really bad situation overall. And so I'm curious where Chance's girlfriend Alyssa currently is, because she was living with him in hotel rooms these past few weeks, and now that he's no longer in the picture, I'm assuming he's not paying $150 a night for the hotels while he's in jail. I tried to see if Alyssa was arrested, and I could not find her being arrested or in jail. So she was not with Chance, because if she would have been in that vehicle, she would have been arrested for tampering with a motor vehicle as well. I did reach out to her ex because, you know, she was with this guy that she had been engaged to for 4 years, who she left for Chance. And I was like, have you heard from her? Because I would be assuming that maybe she'd be trying to run back to her ex now that Chance is in jail and most likely going to be facing prison time. And he says he hasn't heard from her, and he had no idea about Chance's newest arrest. And he said he hasn't heard from her at all, and I'm sure Alyssa's stressed out, because he said when Alyssa left him in September, she only had $4,000, and it took her a little bit to get her job at Walmart, and Chance was the one that was taking her back and forth to work. And Chance's girlfriend Alyssa doesn't know anybody up here. She literally moved from Illinois, hours away from all her friends and family, to be with Chance. And I think things with Chance's friend they were living with went south, because the past 2 weeks they've had to stay in hotel rooms. So she's probably stressed out right now, trying to figure out what she's going to do next from here, especially with Chance potentially looking at prison time. You know, back in the day, I used to know some people who had been arrested and charged with tampering with a motor vehicle. Every single person that I ever knew that was charged with that faced prison time. Back around in like 2014 or so, I had my own little love after lockup situation where I was dating this guy, and he was getting out of prison for tampering with a motor vehicle. And all he was he was in the back seat of a car, and he didn't even know, allegedly, that somebody had stolen this vehicle as his friend who was driving it. And it was his first time getting in trouble when he was 18 years old, and he didn't get out till 4 years later. The whole situation was a mess, though. My little love after lockup story, like, we literally lasted like 2 days in the free world before ish just hit the fan. If you guys ever want to hear a story time on that, let me know. Okay, so I was in the middle of editing and I got an update. So thank you to Chrissy Paradise for helping me find this police scanner audio. So from the police scanner audio, it sounds like Chance actually knew about these charges and decided to turn himself in to the Lincoln County Police Department, and that explains the confusion with the location of where he turned himself in and where the charges actually happened out of.
I received a call from Earl. He said he's running late about 25 minutes. He would like to call his name and numbers in the CSS.
Wait for him. Thanks. I'll give him a call.
7117-2350, sir. 71.
I spoke with Earl. He's going to be meeting me at the Lincoln County Sheriff's Office at 1800 hours.
Can we push it to 8 for now or leave you a text?
I'm here at the Sheriff's Office, so if you can just reattach me to this.
Just clear.
But that's it for this video, guys. Chance is still currently behind bars, being held on a $25,000 cash-only bond. But let me know what you guys think about everything in the comments below. Check out my lashes and cosmetics at AccordingtoAmber.com. Give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.